So hello world, my name is Amelia and I am going to be finally doing a video. I know it's been a while since I've been able to do a video posting about my life updates and kind of the latest things going on. Most of my videos I've been posting lately have either been talking about in particular what has happened after my surgery. And by the way, if you hear a tapping noise, that's actually my roommate doing something out in the backyard. So that's fun. So please ignore that because I just needed to get this video off my mind because it did bother me. So I actually wanted to do just a quick kind of like highlight something that I haven't really talked about very often in my videos. And I mean, I brought up discussions about it, and that being mental health. I have brought it up. I have, you know, kind of talked about it in some short detail with myself and like, and there goes my cat making rustling noises. I've talked about it a little bit from the aspect of what kind of things I've done with, but there was some things that I haven't talked about, not to mention a recent diagnosis I have had of myself. And it was one of those diagnoses that when I finally had gotten to hear it from my therapist, it just opened my eyes up to this whole new, like, reasoning, this understanding about why I had some of the struggles in my life that I did. So if I've mentioned it before, which I'm not sure if I have, I was diagnosed last year with borderline personality disorder, which in a lot of ways really did help me understand, again, kind of in the same concept, it helped me understand like why I did some of the things I did. It was definitely a good basis to some of the things. Obviously, as you can guess, I also have gender dysphoria, which was something that was very early diagnosed with me. I knew that from a very early on. But the thing that I was recently diagnosed with is ADHD. And it wasn't, kind of what was really sad about it is it didn't take a therapist to actually diagnose it. It took me to bring it up, and then for us to explore it, and then for my therapist to then diagnose it. To be like, oh yeah, which, I don't know, that kind of makes me a little upset that nobody thought to be looking for it, which my best guess as to why that was had a lot to do with the fact that ADHD is so commonly diagnosed in adolescence that when it came to someone who's in adulthood and it's like, hey, what's wrong with you? I don't really know why nobody ever really thought to check it. It really all started, what really led me to the path, and I am sweating for some reason, what really led me to the path to finally come to that conclusion that I had something, I was dealing with something, was I started doing a book project with one of my friends. It was a, I run a publishing company on the side. I don't know if anyone else knows that. I do self-publishing services and graphic design. It's a business I've really desired to build up and turn into something amazing. So I basically had agreed to do a family history book with one of my friends. And while I was sitting down and just going over all of the details, like she was reading ahead and she was sharing like what she was reading, because the book was written in the original the original writing that we were converting to the book was written in 1975, and it was written in very meticulous cursive, so it had its difficulties to read. So one of the things we did is we sat there and, you know, she was reading ahead and I was sitting there like trying to focus and trying to work, and I just kept dozing off or losing focus. I kept like, all of a sudden something over here would distract me, and then all of a sudden over here something would distract me, and I couldn't keep the focus on doing the project. And it got to the point that literally right in the middle of, on our Zoom meeting talking about this, I just started crying. because I was getting so frustrated that I couldn't get myself to focus. I was getting so frustrated, and then I just had all of these memories of having issues with this sort of thing in the past, always having struggles in other situations, both, you know, past and future, past and present. That's what I meant to say. So I was getting so upset and just being like, I've had stuff like this before. I didn't want to look at it that way, etc., etc. And I just really want to highlight real quick, which, by the way, I am going to put the link to her channel down in the comments. She runs a channel called To ADHD. It's been an amazing resource for me. My therapist shared it with me after he diagnosed me with it and said, hey, I want you to start watching these videos. I think they will help you a lot. And she herself has ADHD, and she does these videos talking about how to cope with it and to deal with it, and I've found those videos to be amazing. But I want to highlight is something that she said in one of her most recent videos, and she said that something about in regards to the fact that I think she said her brother was diagnosed with ADHD and other problems and things like that, and she was just basically saying that she basically did not want to admit to certain, like, accept certain conditions, thinking that it meant that she was disabled. I might be saying that wrong, but that was, I think, what I remember. And it was so funny because that exactly was how I felt. I thought about the whole situation. I was just like, that just makes so much sense. That's exactly how I feel. That's exactly how this makes me feel. I just feel, even from a very young age, even starting with gender dysphoria, I never want to admit that something was wrong because I felt like it was admitting I had a disability. I always wanted to be normal. I always wanted to be like everyone else. So when things like this came, and it was like I had problems focusing, I struggled with my gender, everything from a very young age, and I felt like it was wrong. I didn't want to be messed up. I didn't want to be the outcast. I wanted to be normal. And I knew from a very young age, like going over some of the really stupid things that happened to me when I was 11 and 12, I was that weird, creepy kid that kind of lurked around and kind of would stare over people's shoulders. And it's stuff that kind of I tend to do to this day. And it definitely turned into a situation where there was a difficulty with friendships and just keeping those relationships with people. And I guess, again, it was because I wanted to be like everyone else. I wanted to be normal. That's why, like, as I dealt with my gender dysphoria, I tried to be a boy. I tried to get along with all the other boys, but it just never worked out. It just frustrated me to who knows how hard of a difficulty. But ultimately, it's been very freeing to explore, to get mental health. And I want to point that out real quick to anybody who might be struggling with these things, who might be unsure of themselves. Please get help. Please seek out mental treatment, because this is a time and an age that it is finally starting to be recognized as a serious issue that seriously needs to be looked at. And I think it's very important for people to seek out that help. That's why I suck it out. That's why I sought it about 2 years ago now. I'm coming up on 2 years that I'm at 23 months of HRT, so that's fascinating there on its own. But the point is that that frustration, I remember saying to a friend, I'm going back to my story about how I found out, and my friend just sat there and said to me, she said, have you ever considered the possibility that you have ADHD? And I went and I did some research into the symptoms, and I'm pretty sure I don't have the hyper version of ADHD. I have either a combination or it's the low. But I went and looked it up, and I pulled up one credible source on the symptoms and talking about it. And there was one sentence in there that really stuck out to me. And that sentence read, undiagnosed ADHD into adulthood can lead to financial difficulties, relationship issues, housing issues, a whole slew of things that are just problems. And reading the symptoms about like what the things that people do and losing focus, and I was just like, that's just me. That's just me. It's that whole thing of reading it and then going to my therapist and my psychologist, and both of them were very much like sympathetic and like, yeah, let's explore this. And especially my psychologist, I was really appreciate her because she asked me straight out. She said, do you want to seek treatment for it? And I said, yes. I said, if I'm enrolling in college, I'm trying to get my business built up, I'm trying to build my life back up. And sometimes I even wonder if I've not even completely hit bottom yet. I probably haven't. But the point is I need help. And I am broken. I'm not well. Like the saying goes, it's okay not to be okay. And I'm not okay. Today is the first day of me seeking treatment and finding help, getting myself in a future where I'm a better person. And that's just why I wanted to make this video real quick. It's not really an answer to how to fix ADHD, but it is me admitting on camera that I am broken. I'm not the best person. I have my problems. I have my things that I need to focus on and fix. And I would definitely be posting more about these kind of things. I have a lot of upcoming changes in my life. That's why this channel is, I'm never going to stop posting. At least I'm pretty sure I'm never going to stop posting. I had one person who told me they loved my SRS videos. It helped them out a lot. So kind of the same thing. Like my next steps are going to be like getting FFS as well as treatment for ADHD. And coming down the road, I would really like to start talking about just other general things that aren't just trans related, which is very important to me. So, with that all said, I think there's not a whole lot more I can say. So I'm going to end this video here. And I do want to remind everyone to go ahead and check out that How to ADHD. What was her name? I cannot remember her name. I feel like it's on the tip of my tongue. Anyways, it was amazing videos. It was awesome. And, you know, seek out that help where you need it. So don't forget to subscribe, follow me on that social media. I mean, do me a favor and subscribe because it really helps me out when it comes to being able to know, because I do get very much discouraged, and who knows, that's probably playing into my ADHD as well. I very much get discouraged when I feel like I make these videos and I get nothing in return for them. I mean, I'm not making money for them, obviously, because I'm not I'm not at that level. But I do make these just because I really do have a heart and I really do want to help people. So, I will see you all in the future. Next video, which I think is going to be an IPSY video if I'm not mistaken. So, I will see you all later. Bye.